One. Oh, all right. Well, we'll start. Hello and welcome to another episode of the LTA report. Sad addition, a little bit, maybe. I mean, there's a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot to be upset at. Our cameras just died for some reason, but okay, they're back up. There we go. Uh, yeah. Let's just start with FlyQuest because that match just happened. I mean, what a match where I don't want to say they were the better team, but they were so close, neck and neck, and they definitely not just could have won, they should have won, in my opinion. Like that was a FlyQuest win if they changed like one or two few things. Whereas like last year um against Gen G, it felt like the games they lost, they were never gonna win. Here it felt like they definitely could have won those games. Which makes it very, very, very bitter sweet that they like kind of fumbled a few things that you really shouldn't fumble. But yeah, I'll let you start with like how you felt about the games, watching the games, and like your reaction to the loss. Because personally, I took it quite harsh, and like I'm not gonna go out, and I said this on stream. Don't go out and tweet at the players, "You suck. Why didn't you win?" But at the same time, within our communities, we can't just pretend like we didn't have BLG on the ropes, and we like kind of threw.
I've been looking at this on like multiple angles. It's kind of okay. So one angle I've been looking at it is, if not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the types of series you should be putting to bed. Like, I understand you got caught in the moment, and as a C9 fan, like I can attest to that. We did it 2 series in a row against FLYQUEST, right? This is exactly how I felt for like two whole weeks. Is man, we should have won this, and that's exactly how I felt about FLYQUEST. They should have won this. They overcame the like 10k gold lead or whatever it was. They should have won. Like the moment got the better of them. Game 5 was like, I've seen the word like pathetic. I hate that word, but it was a disgusting like capitulation from everyone involved. Like generally everyone. Like Masu dying level 1,
Well, he didn't die,
the
but
draft.
he lost the game level 1. So yeah.
Right, right. Somehow the LPL getting their favorite like Galio draft in Game 5. As soon as you see the Galio, you gotta take away the Rumble.
Boopa doesn't play
Like
it.
I,
That's
but he
basically what
has it on his
happened.
list. He has it. If you remember the infamous list, he has a Rumble on his list.
Okay, so yes, you can play Rumble against Licorice. You can play Rumble against like Broken Blade. You can't go play Rumble against Bin. It's a very, very, very different world. Like I
But
see what you're saying.
this is a bin that's underperforming. Like you need to have the Like he said, this is not the first time that Booker has said I needed to take onus in that series, like in like a best of 5, and take the pressure off my rookies. This has happened like multiple times now. This is what he's come out and said this. So it's starting to become a pattern of, if you're only able to just do counter picks as a top laner, what good are you? And don't get me wrong, he has fantastic strengths, and I wouldn't change him out. But you need to like I don't know how BLG got that draft. The players were probably loaded into that game absolutely laughing. Like outside of the Shen and Ash, that's a game 1 draft of like an LPL series. Like there generally is. Like they'd be happy. They'd be happy to get in, like Nocturne, Galio, Rumble.
Yeah, I mean when Whippo said, or not when Whippo, when Inspired said like we're so much more disappointed in ourselves for games one, for losing games 2 and 3 rather than game 5, because game 5 we just lost in draft. Like there was nothing we could have done. And then people are like,
But you have to have the like you need. Like, I know it's easier said than done, but you need composure. And it seemed like LPL, like, I keep on like BLG were just able to draft in a very like cohesive way. Like their CC lists were absolutely disgusting. Like there was nothing that Fly could have done into that draft, like based on what Fly drafted for themselves. It was just a mess. But also, um, I really hope that the FlyQuest players don't take this too much to heart, and we don't get to see them back in this form, because this should be the new norm for them. Like, you should be disappointed that you're taking these Eastern teams to 5 games, and this is that what we now expect of you, is to have these competitive series, just like G2 was in the past. It's now about overcoming that hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very disappointed. Like it's hard not to be. It really is hard not to be disappointed when you had BLG on the ropes and you let them off. It really stings because you just you hate to see it. You know, like with regards to the game 5 draft, like they had all their eggs in on like we're not gonna ban the Rumble. They banned it game 4. They're not gonna ban it game 5. They banned the Yone instead, and they're like, you can have the Rumble. We're gonna pick Galio into it. We're gonna be fine. You lose the Galio. They pick Rumble and Galio. All of a sudden, you like completely collapse in draft. Right? Same thing with the Lucian.
It's
You
like
ban Nami.
you saw on their faces. Like, you literally go back and watch it. You just saw the life like drain out of them as that draft was going on.
Yeah. It was unfortunate for sure. Like honestly, I'm with Inspired. That game 5, like I don't put so much weight on it. Like whatever, what happened happened. What I'm more disappointed in is like the fact that you pick Callista, and then when I asked you about Callista, you're like, like she has all these strengths, but if you make one mistake, you lose the game. It's like impossible to win. So why are you picking a champion that loses like the game like that? Why? Just don't do it. Just pick a different champion. And like the
We're
answer
not
was
at the level of, sorry to cut you off. We're not
no.
at the level of being able to play so cleanly that like one mistake doesn't throw the game, right? Like, we're not
Yeah.
at that level. Like we need to start having a little bit of arrogant stats. Like, this champion is such a scrim champion. I promise you, in scrims, they're winning on it a lot. Like, they will get Callisto all the time, and they'll absolutely slam even like Eastern teams probably. And that's why teams feel overconfident. Like, Sven's a very good Callisto. Like, historically, I was really upset when I saw Callisto in our game 5 drop. It's like, that champion is so hard to play. Does no fucking damage. The problem is that there's always there could be an overreaction to like the loss, and like if Fly have another one of these at Worlds, they go and make changes to next year, and as a region, we are not prepared to, kind of like G2 was. When you change out the parts, you don't know which parts are the reason you got here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always my concern with like roster changes going into like next seasons is, man, like the GMs do not know like the parts they're working with, and like G2 found out the hard way, like getting rid of Mickey X, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what they have until they lose it. And like, the thing is, NA doesn't have another one of these teams in the pipeline. At the moment, you've got C9 Fly. I don't think TL, maybe next year, if they keep the same roster, they'll be able to redevelop back up with UG. I don't think summer's going to be like a quick enough time around for them. But like, these Western teams, they don't have like these pipelines of teams like you see in the East, right? Where you lose Harmwell Life, you've got another team straight up there. Like, at A&E, you don't have these teams. They're like, these teams are special, and like the GMs have not figured out how to replace the parts and keep the success.
I will say with FlyQuest, I'm a little bit worried about what they're doing with their top lane change. Like they're gonna change their top laner, or like they're having the sub situation with their new top laner. I really don't like seeing that, to be honest. But I guess there's nothing more we can do than like wait and see how it turns out. So it's like, what if you already ruin a perfectly good team? Like this FlyQuest team, we might not see it, in summer. Maybe like they take this loss to heart, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're just gonna play this new kid instead. You know, like what if that happens?
Maybe I wouldn't agree with it.
I mean, FlyQuest have done a pretty
Um,
good job overall with the GMing of this roster, but
yeah.
like, you never know, right? Like,
Hmm.
they could do it.
Okay, let me ask you: what other parts do you think are expendable on this roster?
Honestly, I don't think you expend anybody. Like, look, Masu
No,
didn't
no, no.
have a
But what I'm
great
saying
like
is
to the
like,
comment. Uh huh.
so like, what my like point is like, say next year,
Uh huh.
what would be if like, let's say Fly made changes, what like I genuinely think you could ADC and mid are the only changes you could make, like where it stylistically wouldn't change. But if you start taking out like a Bwupo or Inspired or like a Busio, the team's like dynamic changes completely. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to explain. Like I don't think Quad or Masu should be getting replaced. Just to like point out there,
No,
but
I understand what you're saying.
yeah, like I think this is why like I say with I think GMs are definitely too like trigger happy to make changes, and they don't understand what are the core like for FlyQuest now. The expectation is you are completely better than the West, right? And now your expectation is you need to go up that next gear and can like consistently compete with the East.
But like, we haven't won a series. Like, this was the series to win. This was
Oh
the one where when you win, you're like,
yeah,
oh, FlyQuest can actually do it. If you're like you said, if not today, then when? This was the weakest BLG have looked. This was your opportunity, and we kind of threw.
yeah. Like the thing is, like the results do practically stay the same, right? Like this is the exact same round that like C9 went out in 2023, right? Like the rounds didn't extend, but I think what is at least starting to show is that they're taking games off the East, and that's something that we haven't, as a region, haven't had in like a couple years at least, where it's now expected we're taking games of AL, who I think are in very good form. Yes, we should have beaten BLG, but when in like the last few years, like from like I'd say 2021 onwards, have we as a region said we should be beating BLG? Like that's where I'm looking at now that we're slowly changing our narrative, and that will take like a few years to still like build.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a good thing that it's happening. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like I'm complaining that we're in that situation. It's good, like you're saying. But when you're in that situation, you have to take the most of it. You have to make the most of it. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Like for worlds, you have to like, and that transpires to best of threes as well, right? Like it doesn't just have to be a best of five. In Swiss stage for worlds, you have to be taking these like series off of the lower Korean and Chinese teams, because I'm not expecting you to beat like an AL or Gen G or to some degree a T1, even though I think they still have a little bit more to show.
Do you think that we can take series like at Worlds? I know it's like kind of doomer what we're saying, but like if you don't like again, if you don't
Um,
win this game, like which one do you win?
Tough, right? Because like you have Hanwha Life sitting at home.
I know.
like the the team that's coming in is Hanwha Life, and who would I don't know who it'd be from the LPL, but um like BLG were so beatable. They didn't play great that series at all. They haven't played great this MSI, to be fair.
Here's the thing. You know how like usually what happens is Knight clutches up, or you have an amazing like Oriana Shockwave, or like an incredible Silas game, or some sort of like something that just completely wins them the game. Bin has an incredible Camille game where it's like actually impossible to win. That didn't happen. Like you lost without BLG like really making incredible plays. Like don't get me wrong, they won, they deserve to win, but they didn't like have to absolutely clutch it up. And that's like kind of sad that we're not forcing them to have to play at such a high level, if that makes sense. That they can
Yeah,
win even without doing that.
like we should be at the stage, or we should be getting to the stage of if they have an off day, we'll punish you. And at the moment, it's oh, you'll have an off day, and we will push you a little further than like we have in the past.
Yeah. I think like overall, just to like summarize, it's good that FlyQuest are competing, but when someone's almost knocked down, you have to take that final punch. You have to like completely put them down, you know? And if you failed to do that, then that's when it becomes very difficult to imagine a world where the team is playing not at the highest level. You have things you are much better at than them, and then you're unable to like really close it out. And that I mean that stings, right? That's always gonna sting. But they
It
played
just kind
their
of
hearts
the
out.
composure. Like I don't think that they left it all out there. Like yes, the game 5 draft was something, but like as a team, they collectively laid it all out there. Like I know certain individuals didn't. Like I know like I know Quad and Mosu didn't have their best days, but
Dude, the people saying change Masu or like get, I'm just like, dude, he's like one of our best players from NA. Like, who are you gonna replace him with? Who's better than Masu at this situation?
yeah,
Like,
no.
it's just
But the thing
kind of
is, like he
ridiculous.
just had a bad like he just had a bad tournament. Quads was more like every series was a struggle, but oh damn, Woohoo's in Woohoo's in a Twitch chat.
Yeah, I just saw two. Really, you think minimum two changes? That's crazy. Like, I can see them wanting to change Whipple. Maybe he wants to go into like coaching or something. Like, clearly he has something in mind because, well, I mean, they brought in a sub for him and he seems to be on board with it. But like, more than that, who do you change? I don't know. I personally would feel a little uncomfortable with the idea of like just consistently changing players like this.
The only interesting thing to think about is like their contracts are coming up. So like that's the only thing like you're gonna have to think about renegotiating them.
I mean, where else do you go besides
I
FlyQuest?
mean, like
Like, what?
realistically, like no offense to Hundred Thieves and like Shopify, you're literally just reshuffling between the top 3 teams. I think at this point, unless like Shopify really want to like put a big bag, but I can't see that happening personally.
No, I mean, I
Quad would
agree with
be
you. I think that's
interesting.
pretty much.
Like, Quad would be interesting.
Who do you pick up besides Quad? Like the question is, okay, we can always say, okay, we can get rid of this, we can get rid of him, we can change him. But like, who do you change him for is the question, right? Because you can't just change them without having someone to change for, right? So who? Not every quad or not every like quid is going to like gamble is going to work. Not every gamble is going to work. So like, who do you replace him with? Yeah, game 3. Yeah,
be could be interesting. But
quid. Interesting. Yeah, quid would be something.
I hate that the names are Quid and Quad. It's so annoying.
Yeah, quid would be something. Honestly, here's the thing with quid. I don't I don't think it makes you that much better. I know people are like saying caps. They're like, oh, if you just bring in caps, it's like GG. But like, is caps? He's under contract, and is he really gonna leave? Like, that's never gonna happen. But besides,
I don't think Fly is spending that money, to be fair. Like to buy him out.
yeah, I don't think FlyQuest, considering how they're moving their financials, like I think they're not really looking to do something like that. That's my impression. I could be completely wrong, right? They could get another investment and try to get like Prince or something. Like maybe they try to get BDD. Like you never know, right? Am I gonna be able to get interviews for EWC? Honestly, I don't even know who I would go to ask for something like that. So probably not. Yeah, I have no idea. Like it's a completely different people who run it, so probably not.
So what
But
he just said, like,
uh,
what about JoJo?
you bring JoJo back? I mean,
Like the link with Inspired does make sense.
yeah, you could do JoJo, but like, is Mad Lions gonna let go of JoJo so quick? I don't know. Like, I guess next year off season anything can happen, right? I guess there are options. You're not wrong. Like, it's not as black and white as I made it seem, but it is kind of scary still because you kind of like what you were saying earlier. You make one change, and then because you think this is the right change, and then all of a sudden like that was not the right change, and you're in a very uncomfortable position because that was your best player, and you just didn't, or that was more important to the team than you realized he was.
The thing is with the teams moving forward, I I don't think we should be changing out as like little as possible. I
I
think we
agree.
have
Yeah.
like for C9 and Fly specifically, TL you don't know how it's going to shake out, but like, at least for the top two teams, you definitely want to be keeping all of your parts for next year. Like as much as I don't like Bobo's playstyle, I think he definitely brings that value to the team. Um, and like they are where NA hasn't been in a while, right? And it's at least like semi-competitive.
I mean, I am in general a fan of like keeping the team together, but you know when you get into these situations, you're just like, okay, how realistically do we keep this team together? Because like at some point, the team has to like do it, or you have to do something new, right? So I do see like I don't even know, man. It's such a hard question to ask. I
One
think we
thing you have
wait
to
to
like
see
consider with
EWC.
sorry to go on.
No, I think it really depends on what happens at EWC. No, like if Black was just like completely
Maybe
Smurf, then maybe it's like a very different situation. They beat Hama Life, like for example, like, you know, they do something great. All of a sudden, they're like, okay, we can do it. But if they choke again, then maybe, I don't know.
I think the problem it sounds like defeatist in some ways is you have to understand for NA teams is if you change up this roster, blow it up, there's a good chance you may never even get close to this situation again. Like
Yeah,
I don't think you like I don't think you're getting much better like in the West, that is. Like you're not going to get this opportunity elsewhere. There isn't an EU team on the rise that can challenge. FlyQuest is the best team set up Westly in the West to be semi-competitive. And like when was the last time NA was semi-competitive internationally? Like, and when I mean semi-competitive, I mean genuinely. Like, if you look at the worlds last year, even in Swiss, then they took down. Well, they took a game of Hanwha, didn't they? Like, they
mm,
took a game of Hanwha.
they did. Yeah,
They took Genji to 5 games. They took a game of AL. So like none of these they've been stopped, and you're not going to get that just reshuffling LTA players like, at this point. Like you need to keep the core of what you have together for as long as humanly possible because you may not get the opportunity again.
that's the thing. Like, if it, how long with like league's life cycle? How long do you give teams?
I mean, they've already well exceeded like what a general team would like do, right? It's that core, like yes, they swapped out Quad for Jensen. It's been 2 years with 4 out of the 5 players. So does FlyQuest with the contract changes and stuff? Do they look at it and say, like, do we want to go again? I mean, they're LTA champions, right? They've been in every final since they've had this core, like, since they've completely revamped their league program. Like, they haven't missed the finals outside of the winter
Yeah, I
split
was about
in
to be like,
Brazil.
you're forgetting something here, buddy.
Yeah, the real splits. The real splits. It's hard. Like, I it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna say this right now. Out like maybe my mind changes if we don't make worlds, but I wouldn't change out a player next year for my team. Like unless we like even if like these players like came on the market, maybe
You wouldn't pick
maybe
up
you do
Inspire
Busio for
or Busio, yeah.
the thing is I wouldn't say no to Inspired, but it's also like you're fundamentally changing how like, the team would play. And I
Yeah.
think right now we're set on how we want to play, and we're only getting better, right? So like maybe you do a support, but even then, like Dolphins made big improvements.
Either way, I think we're like in a
Yeah.
much better position in EU, for example.
I
Which can bring
mean,
us to our next topic, because I think we talked about FlyQuest a lot.
yep.
Is EU dead? Are they just like completely lost? Is it just like Jover completely for them?
I think the problem is you're like they're spread, like their players are spread across too many teams. Where you'd think that you'd be able to make an optimal EU team. Um, I think G2 completely fumbled how they like, they're getting rid of Mickey and even Yike, in my opinion. I know Yike had his problems internationally, but I say still a lot better than what they look like all year, to be honest with you. Um, and then Fnatic, like you saw them bringing in Poby. But yeah, they brought in Poby, right? And then trying to sign Wonder as a 6-man, like that's just desperate. Like absolutely desperate from them. Like,
Do you
and
blame
these are
them
meant
for
to be
being
your
so
team.
desperate?
There's desperate, and then there's like you could be strategic, right? And like I know that's a big problem in EU is that their GMs absolutely suck. So it's all them. Like I think EU there were some problems.
Yeah, they've got some serious problems. Like I do agree with the fact that like it really does suck for EU that all of like their first pro all team, all 5 players didn't make it to MSI because all 5 players were on KC and Fnatic. So it's like, well, you didn't send your best players. You sent your best teams, but the there's so much parity that it's like, okay, that doesn't really help for sure. Whereas for
No,
us, we sent like much better teams, in my opinion, that had really good players.
yeah, for sure.
I don't think EU is
Ah,
dead. I actually think they come back stronger, but I don't think it happens in the next 2 years. I think it's gonna take like a couple of off seasons for players to like kind of shuffle around until we get all the really good players in one to two teams, and then things start getting better again. That's what I think happens. I don't think it's completely over.
but
Like there's gonna
well,
be useless.
the problem you have with that is how between the teams are you going to decide? oh, I want to be that team that gets to collect all the players. Like you're just gonna have this standoff between teams trying to get like all the play. Like Fnatic has Mickey, like G2 has Caps, KC has Kalist. Like all these players are kind of like just shuffled around, and no one's gonna budge on. No, I'm the team that's gonna collect all these players.
I think what's gonna happen is the players are gonna be the ones that want to like decide. Like the players are the ones
Yeah,
that are gonna be like, oh yeah, I would really like to play with Caps and like Caps and Hansama, for example, or like Caps and Broken Blade. Like it's going to be a case of like the top players will all want to be with each other. That's my guess. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's probably what happens.
you lack as well. It's like you lack a consistent top two, and that's where the the West only like performs well is when you've had two teams pushing each other to their absolute limit, and then you can take that internationally. Like with EU for a long time, you've consistently had um like Mad Lions, you had Rogue for a little bit, you've had BDS up there and Fnatic, and you've had so many like teams just shuffling around that it gets like jarring in some ways. Um, like combined with the fact, like we said, like the players are just spread thin, like across multiple teams, and I think that's kind of where like LTA hasn't had like that problem really. Like each like, team has like really defined, clear set of good players. And yeah, I agree with you. Like I don't rate MQuake at all, or like super highly.
Yeah, that's another problem. It's like when your best team doesn't feel like a that great of a team that yeah, it can cause problems. I do somewhat agree with you in that like I don't know. I feel like it's a situation where when you keep losing, you have to try to find new ways to win. And like eventually they're going to realize this is our way of winning, right? Like that has to happen, right? That's what all pro
You think so?
players go for. They're always like finding ways of winning. Like that's the whole point of competing. It's to find ways to win. And like there's not much you can do besides keep trying new things.
I just don't think EU also set themselves up well for when the eventual G2 era ended, right? Like I said for a long time now, its regionals really holding on to the memories of 2019 and were telling themselves that they are this like international powerhouse, and you slowly saw G2 even like dwindle down to not getting out of Twist Stage. Even when they had like some of the parts that were still there, but like they slowly faded out, and then the changes they made have slowly gotten worse over time. Like I thought BB had a disastrous
Yeah,
SI.
I mean he knows it. He knows it. It's not like he doesn't.
Yeah, like and a lot of people that are on Hamza's back, and he's had a stinker for like a while now.
I thought he was
And
like one of the
I think,
better performing members at MSI. Well, that's not saying much,
I
but
mean,
like I thought he played
it
well.
wasn't hard. I was about to say like it wasn't it wasn't hard, but I don't know where you goes. Yeah. Um, I think
I
Worlds
think they'll
is
be fine.
not going to be fun for them.
Oh, I don't think they're gonna make it out of Swiss, sure, but like I don't think they're going to like go 0 and 3, like not win a single game.
Uh, mm, Depends.
I mean, maybe they prove me wrong, right? But I that's just what that's how I feel. feels like that's not gonna happen, but you never know. What
Where do you stand on like kind of linking back to NA a little bit? Is where do you think like the regional gaps are at the moment?
like compared to other teams? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so like because I know like the term used a lot is the gap closing or is the gap expanding? Where do you where's the line like for you? Like has the gap
It's
just
definitely closed. It's definitely closed. Now, did it close because teams are better than they were? Like, or our teams are better, or are their teams just worse? Like, I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. Like, it's a bit of both, I think. But the gap, yeah, I mean, the gap surely has closed, right? We used to not even be able to take one game. Now we're taking multiple games. Like, that's just the gap has closed, objectively speaking, in my opinion.
it depends what metric you look at. Like, results wise, no. Like they haven't changed. Like
No,
it's
oh, okay.
still
What results are you talking about? Like win loss column, sure. But if you're looking at like the actual games, how competitive they
wait,
are,
the
how
performance, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like the performance itself like improved. But I think that's more this is gonna sound weird. I think this is more on NA going back to norm. Like if you look at pro like 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, we had teams always taking games off the East, beating the East, whether that's like the C9 TSM in like 2016, like taking games off Genji, RNG, Liquid beating IG. Like we've always each year had teams that are semi-competitive, right?
hmm
Whether that was like C9 making out of groups, TSM, although they didn't make it out to the 2016 one,
I mean that team
were
was
heavy
incredibly
favorites.
powerful. Yeah.
That was a strong team. Like no one can deny, even though they fumbled it, they were a very strong team. Liquid, even though they had a pretty poor group stage of that MSI, shocked everyone and beat IG. It's just been in the past few years that we've started really fumbling outside of like C9's weird 2021 like Worlds group where they went like 2-4 and got out. Um and NRG's like performance. But even then they didn't beat an Eastern team to get there, right? But
Yeah.
like so I feel like it's more NA kind of coming back. I think like you are gonna go through those cycles. Because now everyone's saying, oh, it's just the end of it, LEC and all that shit, and it's not. But um it's nice that NA is now like the definitive like third best region at the moment.
I mean, people are saying we might be the second best region because like the third best region might be, or the sorry, not second, the fourth, because LCP looks freaking incredible.
It depends if you define that as like I wouldn't say the LCP is better than LTA
I would
personally.
agree with you. I would
Like
also say
if
that,
you
but
look at the body of work these LTA teams have compared to like after the drop off after like CFO, like Gam did their best, but I wouldn't place Gam super highly in like LTA North. So I don't agree that like LCP should be considered the third best region. Though I will say CFO is a very strong team. Like they should be respected. They're an incredible team.
yeah, but I mean, EU isn't in that conversation anymore, so it's definitely a different world. I don't think there's ever been a time where EU has been worse than LCP. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time where they weren't top four.
It depends how you look at it, right? Because you've always had like from the PCS, you always had like flashballs or
But they were never
um
better than like.
to a degree. Well, you had PSG in like 2021, right? Who were I'd say they were better than Mad.
Yeah, but Mad wasn't their first. Mad wasn't no 2021 they were,
Well,
but like
in
no, they weren't better than Mad. Mad like took Damwon to 5 games 2021. That Mad team was actually good.
I thought the Mad did not take that one to 5 games.
They did. They did. It took Damwon to 5 games at MSI.
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just like, I want to go check this myself.
No, check it yourself. Yeah. Oh, that was 2022. I'm sorry. I'm confusing 2021 and 2022. Right?
No, you're right. 2021, Mad did take down 1 to 5. Yeah, okay. But even then, like, there's always been like someone from Taiwan that's been like a strong representative, right? But I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
like Flash Wolves for the very long time, where like the Korean killers, like they couldn't do it in best of fives, but if you gave them a best of one, they were gonna beat you, like Korea, like multiple times.
yeah. That's an interesting question. Do you think like Fearless is a reason the gap is closing?
I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
If you're
either because we
looking
saw
at
it last
later
year too.
stages, like I think it's like if you look at the stages last year, in the later parts of like best of fives, I think then is where I think you see the more the drop off in the West than you see the East. I think the East kind of more thrives when like the later these series go on, right? Like I don't think like it wouldn't make sense either. Like why is Fearless in like the very start of a best of five? Why would it then be that the gap is closing? Like because in theory, like the East have their strongest champions available from the very good beginning.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It's like it wouldn't matter because we would just get 3-0'd
Right. Like
if it
game
didn't
one,
close.
game
Yeah.
two, they have their optimal picks, and then by game three, you're mental wound.
Yeah.
So I don't think. Um,
I don't think so either.
I think so. One of the topics I had was is this the best MSI ever, or is it because there's a bit of NA bias because
Oh, I thought you
FlyQuest
meant is
put
this the
on a good
best
show?
MSI for NA? That's why I asked, is NA actually good?
Hmm.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Um, yeah, we can just, I mean, transition to is NA good, but talk about what you're saying. Double elimination feels like it's going to be a Western win, almost impossible. Uh, for the tournament, sure, but like for a game, you end up like playing more, you spend more time there, and then like ideally more time spent there means more experience, more scrims, better results. No, is that not how it's supposed to work?
I think just to answer like the question I asked, I think under the new format, this is probably the most entertained I've been, like as a fan.
Yeah,
Like
I can agree with that.
almost every series has been very entertaining. Ironically, maybe my favorite series was probably the 3-0 from T1
What? Why?
because you don't see a team like anti-strat often in League, and it plays to perfection. And I think like T1 read them like a book.
Yeah, T1 kind
Like
of destroyed them.
like yeah, and the I like the plays BLG were making in these early games, but T1 just absolutely had an answer for it every single time. You don't normally see anti-strat. Like, do you know what anti-stratting is?
I'm assuming just from the name, like you play
Yeah, so
something.
like
Yeah.
in FPS, like it's where you actually have your enemy team's plays downloaded, and you know exactly what they're gonna do, and then you make up a game plan to play it, and like the team get upset like that you're anti-stratting them. That's exactly how it felt in the T1 series. They just completely read them like a book, and I have full respect when teams are able to pull that off in League because I think it's one of the harder like esports to do it in.
Yeah, because normally you don't play with the enemy. Like if they're playing, they're just like a meta, and then if the team is playing non-meta, that you probably don't play the non-meta that they play. So it's like I see what you're saying, like why it's so difficult. Sorry. I
Do you
don't.
think this is the best MSI ever?
I think 20. I have to wait until the end, but I think 2023 was the best MSI. I know it sucks that it was like not Korea versus. I think the worst thing was that Korea wasn't versus China in the finals. That was probably the worst thing. The fact that it was BLG versus JDG. But if that's the worst thing, that oh, maybe last year too. I think the last in general, ever since they changed the format, it's been great. I think it has to go to one of the last 3 years. I still think the JDG one was incredible because we got to see JDG versus T1. We got to see Gen G versus um, BLG and versus T1 and versus what's it called? BLG is BLG T1. We got to see so many cool matchups. And the fact that JDG versus T1 went to 5 games and it was so tense, and the way JDG was playing, to me, like that was an incredible performance, and I personally felt like that was my favorite MSI.
I'm liking this one because I feel like this is a 3-team race at the moment between T1, Gen G, AL. Like, I feel like they're all heading towards a collision. I think BOG are, in my opinion, out. Like, I think they're losing the next series. Thanks to AL, right?
Yeah, they're playing AL next.
Yeah, I can't see them. Because I think AL's playing pretty well. And I think this will be the nice test for T1. Because I'm not saying like BLG are not a threat, but this is now like T1, like, okay, have you actually come back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is their yeah, this is their big test.
So let's just say that AL do win, right? I think that's what everyone's like expecting. And then you have AL
Mhm.
versus what's their name? T1. Who do you think wins?
AL.
Well, you think AL is gonna beat T1? Okay.
Because I think like this isn't any like analytical like thought process here. But I think the TL, not the TL, the T1 like international magic lasts as long as they're in this upper bracket. Like, I think if they lose to Gen G's finally got that duck off their back of beating T1 in an international best of 5. Um, you could see you could see T1 like kind of falter back into what we've seen from them like for most of the year, which is a 4th place LCK team. Like, you're kind of waiting for the ball to drop, but then with T1 you're also expecting the norm to continue of they just win internationally.
Uh-huh.
But then again, this isn't a tournament called Worlds, so
That is true. That's a very strong point.
does the magic truly exist, or was it just BLG suck ass?
I think the
Um,
magic exists, man. I think the magic exists.
and I also think AO has showed enough for me that they're the real deal, because you always had like how are the younger kids gonna, or kids, or how are the younger players, like the inexperienced players, gonna perform on the international stage? They haven't played too much, right? Outside of like Tarzan
Mhm.
and like Flandre, obviously, but even then, he's not like a renowned international player, right?
I mean, he's a world
Like,
champion, so it's like
no, but sure, but he doesn't have like too much else. Like, I know it's a big tournament to win, but like he doesn't have too many like under his belt, like to say like to fully trust him, right? So
I know what
I
you
think
mean.
they've been,
Yeah.
yeah, like I think they've looked very good, and the 5 game series against Genji kind of said like, right, that's the stamp of approval like I need.
Yeah, I actually think that I have to wait to see how T1, like if T1 look really good against AL against Gen G tonight, then we can start talking. But if they don't look that great and it was like kind of more of a fluke, then maybe okay, maybe it's not. Maybe AL takes it, but it really just depends, right? We'll have to wait and see. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the games tonight. They're gonna be really cool.
Who do you think wins?
tonight. I mean, I'm saying T1's gonna win, but that's maybe just me believing in the Magic a
I
little too much.
I had Genji 3-1.
Logically, I think that's correct, but it's T1.
Mm,
It's where's the logic
yeah,
in T1, right?
exactly. Like logic goes out the window the second you mention their name.
Yeah.
How's your
So,
pick'ems going, by the way?
oh, I stopped looking. I stopped looking at them.
Dude,
It's so over for
I
my pickums.
I have every single series correct outside
What?
of CFO Koi. Outside of CFO Koi,
Oh, I got that one right, thankfully. I thought that
I
was
I put Koi to win.
no. I
But
was
this was like
very confident Koi was gonna lose. Actually,
this was prior to the tournament starting. Just so, like hard prior. Um. So yeah, sucks. I'm not gonna get the legendary skins, but it
yeah,
is
me
what it is.
neither. It's so over for my pickums. It's not even like I stopped looking, man. I had AL
And,
upsetting. What's it called?
and the thing
Genji.
is, I fully expect every single like, other result to come in as well now, and it's just going to be that one result staring at me.
Ooh, that would suck if that's the case.
Yeah, yeah, because I've got every single one right so far outside of the MCOY series.
Yeah, that would be a real. Yo,
So, like
whoa,
I
Wooly has
have
100% on his pickums.
I have 160 out of 170 points available. It's really upsetting.
Wait, let me check my pickums. There's probably like 10 points available. Um. Oh crap! I didn't mean to do that. Uh. How does one look at their pickums? It's just pickums, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I have 110 points. Oh, not bad. I thought it was a lot worse. Um, wow.
Like I had all the planes correct, and then like I had all of the first two rounds of the upper bracket correct. Fly beating
Oh.
G2, and then I had MCOY beating CFO.
Okay, play-ins is hard carrying me because in play-ins I got everything right. So I got 70 points there, and then I didn't get. I only got 40 points
And then
afterwards.
I have AL running the lower bracket run to the finals. And then G winning it.
I don't know, man. It's. I think T1 are gonna shock us. I think T1 are gonna shock us. But
I
we'll
mean
see. We'll
it would
see.
not surprise me. It would
Yeah,
not surprise me.
we'll have to wait and see.
Should we do Q&A?
Yeah, I was just about to say let's move on to Q&A.
Woohee, if you want, you can add some into like the podcast questions like channel if you like, want to ask us anything. Or anyone actually that watches us and is part of the Discord.
All
I
right.
think the link should be provided somewhere
I didn't actually link it on
in the
this one,
videos.
but I did put it in last
Oops.
episode. So I'll make sure to put it in and
Yeah.
after. But um so actually from last week Poppy had asked us like what's the worst roster move mid split, and then in the comments he was like I meant like between splits. I'm so sorry guys. So
Oh.
yeah, we eventually answered this question. But um Damastalix asks, how do NA fans feel about Fly after Game 5 versus before Game 5? Uh, a lot different. I think after Game 4, we were like, okay, we can actually do it. We should have won Game 3. We were very close. Like, Game 2, we also could have won. We pretty much, like, chucked a couple of games. It's Game 5. I think we were very, very excited. Everybody was behind FlyQuest, and now everybody's disappointed. I think some people are like, hey, it's okay. You like, took them to 5. That's what matters. Like, no. In a boxing match, if you're boxing someone who's so much better than you and they just beat you and like you're able to like actually withstand multiple rounds and like you overperform, then we're proud of you. But if you are going against someone who's so much better than you and you have them against the ropes and you don't give that knockout punch, you're going to be like, what the hell? Dude, you had him. So that's how I feel.
Mhm.
It's more of like, this was so winnable, man. It was so winnable. What do you
Yeah.
think NA fans feel?
Uh, like the problem is like I said, if not now, when? Because I expect BLG to be better at Worlds. It's not like there's an LCK team that's gonna like struggle coming into Worlds, right? Um, like I fully expect them to be TFO and the rest of the West, right? But where does that Eastern win come from?
Where indeed. Um, yeah, I think we're both on for the most part in the same agreement. Next question here is from Poppy as well. Poppy343. Do you think Fly have reached their ceiling with their current roster? And do you think their new top laner will help them reach a new height? I don't think they've reached their ceiling. I think Masu could have played better. I think Quad could have played better. I think Busio has improved so much in the past 6 months. I think Inspired is playing the best League of Legends he's ever played. I still think like Whippo and as a team in general, like in the early game, they can definitely level up. So I don't think we're playing like to their ceiling. I think like EWC will give them good experience. I think like hopefully by Worlds they hit the ceiling. The new top laner, I think, will just make them a worse team. Like it's just
It doesn't work out. Like 6-man rosters, like even in like CFO series, like you immediately saying like, why is rested? Even though like rested fine, it's like drivers, drivers really good.
yeah. I don't have much
Um,
faith in this new top laner, but
do I think this has reached the ceiling? It's weird because like you have to look at it in the way of, um, okay, like Masu and Quad weren't playing at their peak, but what would BLG have looked like if Bin was playing at his peak and On wasn't turbo sprinting it every single game? Like, like you always have to like look at it like, okay, you could say if Fly weren't playing, that their players weren't playing to their level, but then like if both teams were having their players played more towards their level, I think Fly gets slapped around. Personally, I think they've reached their ceiling. Uh mm, I don't think they'll ever be able to beat the creme de la creme when it comes to like the East. Like we saw against AL, it was outside of game one, it wasn't really close, like at all. I thought Quad. I think Quad's kind of peaked in my opinion. Like I think I don't see the level like improving drastically. I think Masu definitely underperformed like this MSI. I don't think he was great. Also, I don't think the drafts around him were not great either. Because like a lot of times in these games where like you would get them to within like an inch of their lives, and then you'd have like a on the enemy team, you'd have like a Kaiser or someone um like just murdering people left, right, and center, right? And I felt like with Fly's drafting, it never really felt like Masu was able to just play like the carry cleanup crew.
yeah,
But you know what I mean? Like you thought you're winning the fight, and then the Kaiser just presses Q, and then
yeah,
you've lost the fight. Like
yeah,
that's how it always felt with like the Eastern games.
yeah. I I I think they can do it. Like I know rosters don't stay together for a very long time, but I think if this roster does stay together, they can do it. But obviously, with bringing in a new top laner and like, I don't know. I don't have faith. Maybe I should, but I just don't. Um, Next question from Woohee. There have been a lot of talk about C9 not being there from all type of different people in the scene. How do you think Riot is handling processing that? And do you realistically think they are thinking about fixing it next year? So over the between split 1 and split 2, what's his name? Mark Z actually addressed it. And he said, "We know that you guys are frustrated and like that you're like, oh, make CB Law or LTA South work for it, right? And earn their spot." And his response was like, "That's the problem. They don't deserve it. Like gameplay wise, they have the viewership, but they don't have the competitiveness. So if we just make you guys fight for it, you're gonna win every single time. So we have to guarantee it for them right now." I don't know if they go back on their decision. The only way I would see them going back on their decision is if they change up the format, which I don't know that Riot is willing to do. I think Riot is like addicted to removing as many teams as possible from the what's it called? From Worlds, like just in general in their competitions. Well, maybe not every single competition, but they do want to decrease the amount of teams that exist. That's why we went from like 24 to 16, right? Or 17 at Worlds. So I don't think they're gonna fix it. I think they're just gonna do more cope answers. I don't know. What do you think?
I think they're going to. Hard to predict. They are going to separate the two. Because look, they've already contradicted themselves by, if you look at the power rankings, they're separated by LTA North and LTA South. Like, because they know if they put the LTA South in with the LTA North and you just had the LTA in that power rankings, then it drastically brings down like the
Yeah.
contributions that North America are making to the power rankings at the moment. So I do think next year that they will. If I had to make a prediction, I don't know any inside information. I've like left the scene in that regards. I don't follow up anymore. But if I had to predict, um they'll probably keep the Americas. They'll have more like cross games next year, but they will separate it in terms of like international qualification. Like they'll have their own separate like things for like MSI, worlds, etc. So it doesn't feel
Interesting.
like, oh, why is these teams taking our spots?
I mean,
Because if even LS is saying, why is C9 not here, you know there's a problem with your you know there's a problem with your format.
I would be so down for that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would be very down for that.
I
Um,
mean, like the problem with the way like Riot are handling it is you don't get to see these LA versus Brazil matchups to even have the discussion.
yeah,
Like we're moving into worlds like territory now, and we've had one best of three against Brazil to this date. G2 has played more games against Brazil than C9 has.
that's
Like they
funny.
have.
Yeah,
Like
you're
it
right.
like
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but
like
you're not
G2
wrong.
has played more games against LTA South than we have.
That's crazy. That
So the
never
last
should
one is
be a situation that
NA is
happens.
once again delivering the LAN experience. What do you think it will take to revive? Let's bring those vibes back to the OTA. I think the simple thing is you need to start having events. Like that would help. Like I expect a good turnout for Texas, but the problem is you're only having these once a year, and now next year it's going to be like the OTA finals are going to be in Brazil, and the LTA winter or split one playoffs is going to be in NA. But I don't think they're doing any like sort of land for that, right?
Not that I know of, no.
No, so I don't think it's like they're not getting them out to the audience because like you've seen in like um it's the first like Canadian event we've had in a very long time, and they've started to pack it out at the end. Like the crowd's been great.
Yeah, the crowd has been awesome. That's for sure. I think it's gonna require like just more marketing effort. Like, unfortunately, that's kind of what you need to do. You need to like really spend more of your marketing budget on like watch parties, and I know they're trying with certain things like they did like LTA Split 2 watch party with what's it called? At like Regal Cinemas. Like you need to do a lot more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you just need more marketing. Like your TikTok account is like it's good. You need to do a lot more of that stuff. It's a start, like they're started, and I think they need a lot more of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, I think those are all the questions. You said 3-1 versus what's it called? T1, right? You think T1's gonna lose 3-1?
I said, I think Genji's gonna win 3-1.
I think T1's gonna win. So I'm going to be cheering for them. But it's good. I think it's gonna be an exciting set of matches for sure.
I'm a T1 hater, so
I mean, I'm not really a T1 lover, but I just feel the magic, you know? I just feel it. So I can't deny it.
I'm trying to go away from the norm. I'm trying to be
different,
boring.
Not like all the other girls.
Yeah. And I just want to see like Genji finally get their like break their duck.
Yeah, I mean they won last MSI, so
yeah, but like you want to take down T1. Like I think that's kind of the one thing outside of the World Championship that like this organization needs, because they have the LCK victories, but like they really need this stamp of authority on like on their resume.
I don't know. I think they beat them enough domestically that it doesn't matter too much, but maybe that's just me. Like maybe they really do want it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they haven't done it, so like it's so important.
Makes sense. All right, we'll see what happens. Next week I'm not actually going to be here. I have a wedding that I'm attending. And then I'm going to Petra right after. So, I will be back. We might have it next week as well, the episode. It just might be like late, or we might cancel it. It just depends on how I feel when I come back. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time whenever that is.
Peace.
Your pick'ems need Genji, but I want you want to win. Yeah, I feel you. You had 100% so far, so maybe it is Genji.